The Mini 3 Pro is finally being released, and we think it's going to be on April 21st. We are so confident of this that we're going to put our money where our mouths are and have a little giveaway at the end of this video. But in the meantime, we're going to go over some of the crazy specs this thing has to offer and show you that sometimes big things really do come in small packages. So the Mini 3 Pro is here, or at least it will be in a few weeks. And like I said, we'll get into that at the end of the video. Again, April 21st. I don't want to hold out too much, but that's the date we think it's going to be out. The specs have been coming in pretty regularly. This is normal for a new release. This is normal for anything DJI. The Mavic 3, for example, was just a few months ago, and this exact same process happened. So the Mini 3 has been long awaited. It's been a couple years since the Mini 2 came out. And the Mini 2 was really kind of a groundbreaking drone. It was the first drone that was really affordable, something that everybody could get a hold of, but also had most of the features you needed to use in a practical sense. It wasn't just like a Walmart drone. You could actually get some really good footage with it. The Mini 3 Pro, though, according to the latest specs, is looking really good. And I don't think it's going to be that expensive. It's nothing like the Mavic 2 was, or even the Air 2S. So let's just get right into the latest specs, some of which you may have heard. And if you want to skip this part, I'll leave links down below where you can go to get past it. First of all, the sensor, we think it's going to be a 1/1.3, which is a drastic difference over the Mavic Mini 2's 1/2.3. So basically that was not even a 1/2 inch sensor, whereas this has almost a 1 inch sensor. That's almost as much as the Mavic 2 Pro and the Air 2S. That makes a huge difference in quality, that improves low light, and that allows the pixels to be larger. And we don't really know the resolution they're going to go with yet, but it does allow them to be larger, which makes for a better image overall. That same sensor is going to have an f1.7 aperture. That is huge. That just increases the light so much. So before we're dealing with an f2.8, I don't think it's going to have variable aperture. The drone is less than 250 grams. So I don't think they're going to be able to get that in there. The Air 2S did not have variable aperture either. And honestly, that's why we went back to the Mavic 2 Pro. But for the price, I think this thing's going to be great. So the next thing, 24mm equivalent focal length. We pretty much expected that. That's pretty standard. A 3-axis gimbal. Well, that's what it had before, but this is a little different. See, there's actually a little cutout on the top that will allow the drone to face up when it's flying forward at high speeds. It will also allow the drone to likely look up to take more unique photos and videos. This is a pretty cool feature. And the other thing it's going to allow for, because it's mounted on the side, is potentially vertical video. And I'm pretty confident they're going to do that. With the way Instagram and TikTok is anymore, I think vertical video is here to stay, at least for a while. Another feature I'm really hopeful for in the Mini 3 Pro is D-Log, or some kind of log profile or flat profile that we get in the 2 Pro and in the Air 2S. Because those sharp images and bright colors, while they look really cool, they don't blend well with other cameras. So a drone that's $600 or $700, if that can be blended with high-end cameras, that's pretty cool. That's an awesome feature. And usually we're not as excited about drones as this. The Mavic 3, we didn't really care for too much. We thought it was way overpriced. It's amazing, but it's not worth the money. This guy, though, this is different. I think this is going to stand out a little bit. And a few other things we need to go over. As you've probably seen before, it is going to be under 250 grams, which means you don't have to register it. It means that you could theoretically maybe fly it over people, but you still need ADS-B and you still need to have prop guards. And there's some other restrictions there. So the reality is I don't think it's really going to work for that. But it's a small drone, it doesn't have to be registered, and that's another nice feature. And one of the other things as an entry-level drone that was a problem in the past was no obstacle avoidance. Honestly, as you get more experience, you'll probably disable obstacle avoidance anyway, but with these mini drones and as an entry-level drone, you're gonna want that. You're not gonna wanna be able to crash very easily because, hey, this might be your first drone, and if you crash it immediately, there goes your money, and you may never try again. So this is gonna have obstacle avoidance on the bottom, which helps with landing. It's also going to have front and back. They're actually notched towards the front of the drone, which is a pretty clever design to save on space and weight. There isn't anything on the side, but the Air 2S doesn't have that either. And honestly, even the Mavic 2 Pro, that's usually disabled because of the modes I fly in. So you don't really use the side to side that often. Just be careful when you're doing those little orbit maneuvers. You don't want to slam into a tree. We've seen those videos. There are going to be a couple versions of this drone during the release. There's the Pro version, which has the new smart controller looking thing with a screen that is probably going to be a lot less powerful and just a lot less expensive than the new RC Pro controller that just came out. I mean, that thing's worth more than 2 Mavic Mini 3s. This new controller will be included with the Pro kit from what we understand. It also looks like the Pro version may have better camera settings, probably just as a software thing. I don't think they're going to come out with 2 different cameras. But again, that is surely speculation. I don't know that for sure. And we've heard about a third Explorer edition, but let's debunk that right now. There is no Explorer edition of the Mini 3 Pro coming out. What you saw online is this company released a case for the Mini 3 Pro before the drone was even released. And that case showed it as the Mini 3 Pro Explorer edition. Well, a little quick research on the same website shows the Mavic 3 Pro Explorer edition as well. And what they're referring to is the type of case that has more volume to hold more objects. So there is no Explorer edition of this drone. So before we get into the date and all of those details, let's talk about whether you should buy this drone or if it's for you. Well, the Mini 3 Pro is pretty sweet. And if there is a regular Mini 3, it looks like it's going to be really good too. And if you've never owned a drone before and it's your first drone, I would say it's a good buy. I mean, it's a little more expensive than the others, but it's a pretty fair price drone and it's high enough quality that it'll be motivating if you purchase it. Now, if you don't have the budget for it, wait until it comes out. Don't go buy the Mini 2 or the original Mini right now. Wait until the Mini 3 comes out and then you will see a lot of the Mini 2s for sale for a much lower price. They always flood the market when there's a release like this. We used to buy our GoPros 1 year behind. I mean, it just worked. So I would say if you have the budget, go for the Mini 3. The Air 2S and drones like that, I think are still a step above the Mini 3, and I would get them if you have the option, but honestly, I don't know that you need it. You know, if you need that kind of quality difference, I think now you're moving into Mavic 2 Pro or Mavic 3 territory, and at that point, you probably have the budget to pretty much get whatever you want. So while we're on the topic of DJI, let's talk about some of the upcoming things that are being released. Well, we think this is going to be April 21st, and we'll get into more detail on that in a moment, but the RS3 we think is going to be coming out in June, and the RSC3, the new gimbal systems. We also think the Mini FPV, so a miniature DJI FPV drone, is coming out in July. And then in September, we're pretty confident that they're going to release the Inspire 3, which is going to be insane because it's going to be able to use that new Zenmuse X9 from the Ronin 4D. It's going to be able to fly the X9 camera. That's 6K or even 8K on the Inspire system, but it's going to cost a small fortune. And then I think in November, they're talking about the Pocket 3. I don't know about that one as much, but the Inspire I'm very confident in because with the Ronin 4D, it looks like something they're going to do. So after some research, we are really confident on the April 21st release date. Now, we may be totally off, and if we are wrong, it's to your benefit. Because what we're going to do is offer up a Best Buy gift card to whoever guesses the right date. Now, obviously, a lot of you may guess the same exact date, but we're a pretty small channel, so your odds are pretty good. But if you do guess the same date and it's correct, we're going to pick one of you at random and send you the Best Buy gift card. So the way this works, if it's the same day as we pick, we're going to pick somebody and they're going to get a $40 Best Buy gift card. But for every day we are off, and if you're right, we're going to add $10 to that. So say it's April 10th, that's like 110 extra, so it's $150 we're going to give you that you can use towards that drone or anything else from Best Buy, because Best Buy generally carries DJI drones when they get released. We just figured it'd be a fun way because if we're going to speculate something like this, we want to make sure that we kind of put our money where our mouths are because we don't want to just tell you something that's totally out there. I will put the rules in the description for this. And basically it's just follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our channel, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see who wins. Well, thanks again, guys. And we will see you in the next video.